$1,000 a day of theta is, I mean, it's a cool thing to do. What size of an account do you think that would generally, I mean, ballpark, right? What are the goalposts for that?
Let me just take a look at because I keep a. For me, I think market's puppy, so I'm hanging out in a lot of cash. 100 grand, $100,000 account probably can collect 1,000 a day in theta.
Yeah, okay.
Like active 100,000. So if you've got, and it's wise to keep a buffer. So I should probably rephrase that. When you're selling options short, and if you're just selling them naked short, like just naked puts or naked calls, it's really wise to keep a cash buffer. So that if something happens and you've got to take assignment or you get assigned for some stupid reason, you want to be able to just do it without really feeling the pinch of that. If I'm going to put 100 grand into short options, I want another 100 just sitting there just as my safety net. So I guess the best answer for that is $200,000 worth of cash in your account, or something you can liquidate quickly to get into cash. So it could be sitting in a stock, like a very liquid stock, like Apple or something. You can hit the sell button on and be in cash instantly
Hmm.
to be able to cover off any possible damage. Now that doesn't mean if done right, it's almost just cash sitting there. And there's times like if we drop hard, we dropped let's say we had a 20% correction, I would not sit on that much buffered cash. I'd start moving it aggressively into the market, trying to pick off a bottom. And really then I just have to manage positions a lot closer. There's times weird things happen, and it's only generally happened to me in butterflies, where I get a really deep in the money butterfly, and I get one leg of that four-legged position assigned to me. And it's like, oh, it's not damaging because you can just exercise the other three legs. And if let's say it was a $100 loss butterfly, technically that's your greatest loss is the $100 you spent. But you're going to have assignment fees and those kind of things to look after. And the stock will move because now you get assigned, and now that stock is sort of independent of the options. So there is movement. So to say that that's a fixed, guaranteed $100 loss, if it goes bad, isn't 100% accurate. But essentially, most of the time you can wiggle out and actually make it better than that, or even make a profit on it because it's moving hard in the direction of that option, and you can make a little bit of profit even though you're assigned stock. But it's nice to have the cash to be able to say, I don't have to act right now. I can look at the chart. I can assess it. I can say, oh, it's a going on a 3 week. This thing's going to go to this magnitude. I can hang on to this. I can adjust this position. But if you're playing on the ragged edge, you're probably hitting the exercise button the moment you wake up in the morning and see that the exercise they assigned you overnight.
Right, okay.
So and that's not a crazy hot pie in the sky number, a couple $100,000 trading account for person in their that's worked a few years and put a good dent in their home mortgage. Have a few $100,000 and still have that account to play around with in day scalps and buy some options and stuff. So it's a very obtainable number. And as a retired individual collecting, I mean, of course, it doesn't pay every day. The stock moves, but I mean, technically, $1,000 a day in theta is a pretty darn nice chunk of change on a monthly
Absolutely,
basis.
absolutely, right. Um,
And then you live in the Caribbean and you can hire a gardener for $100 a month and a maid for $300 a month and a driver for $300 a month.
That's
Buy
awesome.
$3 a pound beef, and you're happy.
That's awesome. So I'm posting a couple things in here in the group chat, or sorry, in the stream chat here for some visuals, for lack of a better word. I I'm sure you've seen this sort of if you've got access. I mean, if you've got a screen you can look at. Um, so I'm looking to figure out like how do we put
Well, there
together.
is options. You can build option positions in TradingView.
Oh, cool. Right.
So if you just open up TradingView slash options, I think it is. Oh, guess I gotta check the whole thing. Okay, hit enter. TradingView, and then just go forward slash. Come on.
I think you can even do it from the app. Where do we do that?
I I think you can too, but for some reason I can't seem to get there. And then yeah, and then you can add strategy, make strategy. I notice it's limited.
Options, there it
Calendars,
is.
I don't think they have calendars.
Okay, this
I
is
think
cool.
that's the only one I found that we wouldn't be able to build is calendars.
Hmm.
Calendar is a calendar we can talk about. Um, but I wanted to do kind of like the next session, if we had people, if we don't have a bunch of people or a few people that have challenged themselves with this, and maybe we can because it's recorded. Um, is sort of get back to some basics, some real basic structures, and sort of talk through some of the things that when we talked last time were taken for granted,
Yeah, let's do that.
or assumed. Because I got a bunch of questions in my DM, and I could see that just some real simple basics are being missed by going too advanced too quick. So it's great for the people that have traded some options and have, shorted puts and shorted calls and looked at spreads and stuff. But if you've never heard or seen or done any of these, we're moving too fast for the average individual to catch on. And I noticed that some people said, "Oh, 5 years I'll come back," or "too complicated for me," or and that bothers me when people give up on themselves that fast. Say it's too complicated to learn. It really doesn't have to be, and that's probably my fault for making it too complicated too early.
I mean, here's what, right? Is I wouldn't, put that on yourself. I think that I really think that, developing a course ultimately is probably something interesting to think about. And so how do you actually put together like a 4 or 5 part course that just, starts from the basics and then you can scaffold, the concepts and the strategies and it's very much like the strat where it's situational. So if this then that kind of stuff, right? Um,
Yeah. Well, you said it very well in, I think, a Sunday session. You said that the strat is just tools, and it's up to us to take the tools and use them in that works for ourselves or works as it's a toolbox. And it's the thing about options and the thing about the strat. They're all not just plug and play. You have to apply them to certain scenarios. The more you understand and can use tools, the more you can become a craftsman. But you have to kind of understand the tools and what they are. And really, that's what I found is somebody was going to click a calendar, and I said, "Well, that's not. What I would suggest you make this change." And their reply was, "Oh, it's too complicated." Well, because their platform didn't structure the calendar exactly the way they wanted. That's like saying that I hit buy put, and I say pick a different strike. Well, that's too complicated. that's that's kind of what the answer comes to me. That's what I hear is, oh, what do you mean? Adjusting your strike is too complicated? And that's really all what I was suggesting was in this case on a calendar, I wasn't suggesting adjust strike, I was saying adjust the expiry date. That's not what their platform created, so therefore it isn't just click calendar, click go. And to click calendar, make an adjustment. Now you got to learn in your individual platform how to make that adjustment. And of course, every platform is going to have a slight variation on how you would do that. Um, so to get back to the tools, let's look at the tools. Then we plug them together as strategies. And then I think we go over the parameters in how you would use those strategies. So back to the if A and B do C, if A and D do E, those types of things. Because if we start with that, we're going to get again to the complicated side before we even know the names of the tools or what the tools are.
Would you be interested in putting together a proper course? Like, I mean, I could do the grunt work on it, and you can just not just, but I would lean on you for program kind of design. And how do you like if you were going to teach someone brand new, what are the steps? And then I can put kind of the materials and the graphics and the documentation around it. I'd love to partner with you if you're up for it.
I
Think
sure. I
think
don't
about
see
it.
any
I mean,
reason why not.
I
I
don't
mean,
know how like you know how in depth we would even need to, or it would even need to be, because there's so much content um
yeah.
on
I
YouTube or
think the
wherever.
biggest thing I think the biggest thing with options is there is tons of content, but for some reason, how do I put it? Executional fear still exists,
Yeah.
right? Like you can get educated, tremendously educated, but you still have a fear of the execution and the fear of the adjustment, and so it's the unknown that somehow we have to think about how do we make the unknown known or make it comfortable enough to be able to go ahead and do it. And so I think the course would be more like here's step one. Let's everybody go this week and do this at least once. And we do the next step. We do it. Okay, let's do step two. Now everybody go out there and do this step two so that you actually are getting people to click the button and experience the event because you're not experiencing anything off of YouTube. You're getting filled full of information. And sometimes that information, as you know in trading, is not necessarily the right information. Um, there's all kinds of good information and bad information. And what we want to do is make sure that what we're giving is good usable information for the purpose of collecting premium. Not, I mean, we don't have to keep it there because who was it in the room? I don't know everybody so well in the room. I'm relatively new, but somebody was talking about how they're pricing out an option for the reverse weekly, and it was great. It was a brilliant piece of information and he said that everybody using the strat should understand this, and I totally agree. Um, and I also think that there's debit spreads that people can use. We have we have we have people that have got anxiety over trading. We've got people that are making sort of the same repetitive mistakes, people that are being stopped out all the time. And it's not that they can't read the strat. It's the money side of things that are killing them. They're moving in and out, moving out. And they don't have the capability of saying, "Oh, I'm on my fourth hit of this same move. I got stopped out three times, so I'm going to take it the fourth time and end up profiting." That's a really hard thing to do. So even to take a debit spread, debit vertical spread, and say, okay, if I'm going to go into this and I'm going to buy a $10 option, and you're going to stop out at $9 so you lost a dollar. In a lot of ways, you're better off to buy two common shares and holding them for the day instead of buying the option that you're going to stop out in $1. Um, but if you could buy the spread that now costs you $2, even a dollar, you can hold that all day. You don't have to stop out because your whole cost now is only the dollar. But you're willing to take a $1 stop and then get back in and then get back in again. And the reason I'm saying that is because I mean we're trading Teslas and we're trading S&P 500s or spiders, which are expensive and the options are expensive. So if you're trading anything at the money, you're spending at least a dollar on your option, or you're spending at least $10 on the bigger stuff. So the stops have got to be in the $50, $100 range, or you're giving yourself no room whatsoever. If you bought a debit spread that is the cost of one stop, you can be on that trade all day until it works. Worst case is the end of the day you close it and you're out one stop's worth of money. And it takes a lot of the anxiety out. If you don't have to, oh, stop out. Okay, now I gotta look to get back in. Stop out. Oh, look to get back in. So we can save some people by just debit spreading, and it's not even collecting premium. It's just using premium to help pay for the option you're going to be long that you plan to hold all day.
Right. I think one of the things that you said just a little while ago is really the core of the barrier and the learning curve is the experiential nature of this stuff. I mean, we've all experienced buying long calls and puts and then selling it or closing. Like we all know how to do that in our brokerage accounts. But to actually put on the type of trades that you're talking about, the challenge is now you're doing like now you're actually selling in potentially in some cases you're selling an option which people have never done and people have been wisely cautioned from that because selling an option can be dangerous. But the experiential nature
Yes.
of what you're talking about, the other thing that I think that a YouTube video or a course or a cheat sheet doesn't capture is the time factor, right? Is any of these strategies that you put on when you want to adjust it or repair it or roll it or whatever, how do you simulate
Mhm.
even paper trading,
Mhm.
one of these things, how do you simulate the nature of time as it needs to pass in order for the trade to evolve and then you have to reassess your position and reevaluate and then adjust accordingly, right? It's so difficult to simulate the passage of time.
Well, yes. Well, we all know that simulated trades or demo trading, they lie to you every time you use it because they don't wait for the other side to actually fill the transaction. You hit the price, they just fill it. You're getting a misleading price.
Hmm.
You're putting in quotes for something like, you're putting in a limit order and they fill the darn thing. Well, maybe in real world that isn't going to fill at that price. So now your spread change, so therefore your performance changes. Especially in options when you start looking at, 100 volume. You're not talking FBY that's got, 100,000 volume in that minute or day or hour. You're talking something that all day has only had 100 volume. So now you know the bid ask is that's reality. So to me, to simulate these things is going to create false hope. It gives you the idea how to roll, when to roll, what's happening with the roll, um, how to sell. Those are technical functional things, and I totally agree with that. Is try them in a simulator and make sure that you've got the structure of the trade properly. Don't assume that your results are going to be the same when you're in a simulated account versus a real account. Because sometimes you can hit sell and it won't sell. It won't close. You have to adjust and you go, okay, I could have a $20 profit in that option. By the time you get it closed, it's a $6 profit because of the spread to get to reality.
Right. Okay.
And that doesn't help confidence then, does it? Because now it's like, well, geez, this thing I tried it and it should have been a $20 profit. Now it's only a $5 profit, and I had $3 worth of commission costs. So now I made $2 on it, and I should have made, $18 on it. That these, this thing doesn't work. Well, that's partly true. Partly true. So yeah, I think if we really think about this course, it would be something that's not really being offered, and that would be the real world look at what's going on and how to create a comfort to give it a whirl. Somebody who's gonna, I think, add some value to our room when he gets back from holidays is Clarky. I've been talking to him quite a bit, not quite a bit, but he's been doing some credit trades while he's on holidays. And unless he's only showing me the good ones, he's been doing pretty darn good.
Cool.
I
That
think he didn't hadn't had any experience. I think he just jumped right in with both feet. Now I may be wrong. Maybe he has more experience than I thought he had. But I thought he just jumped right in, with no experience. And that's excellent for him. It's I think he's made some fundamental errors. But maybe they're not errors. Maybe it's just my way of looking at things. I couldn't say they're errors. He's way more aggressive than I am. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
the Big Easy joined us. Yay.
Yeah.
All
Sorry, guys.
right,
All good.
no
Tough, right?
problem.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
just
will
us.
be like
We just
12
were
people.
chatting.
What happened to everyone?
We scared them off. I think our timing. I think middle of the day may be hard for many, but,
I
and
mean,
we
I
didn't really promote it much either. So
told you I'm up for 9 p.m. PST, but then everybody's in bed at that time. Uh,
yeah,
it's,
well, I think with recording it, it's fine. We kind of putting it out there for everybody at any time, anyhow.
yeah, no, I appreciate it. I
Yeah.
got to see this.
So I'm just gonna
Mhm.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like you were gonna start with something before I start jumping into my questions. So I was
Yeah,
always
that's what I
happy
was
to
just
hear.
going to say. I'm
Mhm.
just going to go through a little bit of stuff, then we'll go to your questions. So I'll just open with sort of what I've observed from the DMs I've got. And to start with, selling premium. Selling premium can be risky, but it does not have to be. If we look at it in a structured format, we can control the risk very, very easily. And what our game plan is to create premium that pays us. So it creates a theta decay that's paying us on a daily basis. The idea of selling premium is when we buy a stock or buy a call or sell a stock and buy a put, which for longer short position, we really can only make money if the stock moves our direction. So if we go long, it has to move up for us to make money. When we sell premium, we don't have to have it move at all and we can make money. So really we have three ways in the market it can move. It can move up, it can move sideways, it can move down. When you sell premium, and let's say we sell a put, that means we're looking for it's a bullish position. The stock market can move up, we make profit rapidly. The stock market can stay sideways, we make profit moderately, like say at half speed. The market can actually, if we put some distance between the current price and our short put, the market can go against our direction some amount of distance, and we still can make profit. Yes, it slows down our profit to the slowest method of making it, but it still does not put our position in jeopardy. It may look like it on paper, but if
Mhm.
time passes, theta catches back up and it now becomes a profitable position. So in a lot of ways, we can make money with the stock market moving any one of the three directions, as long as it doesn't move to an extreme in the opposite direction of what we're trading. So there's the real strong advantage to selling premium is I do not have to be so correct all the time. I'm profitable faster if I'm correct all the time, but I don't have to be, which takes some of the stress out and takes our ability to kind of weather some storm. The idea of rolling is that as the market moves towards our strike price, so if we've taken a out of the money option, we sold the put, let's say the stock's trading $100 and we sold the 85 put. That means we got $15 movement against us before our position on expiry is even at risk. As the market moves down, the put gains more value, which would show on paper we're losing money. But if it stops before a $15 move and time decays, we now have a profit in that position. We collect that premium. We're only in jeopardy if it drops more than the $15 at expiry. So that is when I look to roll. As soon as that price is being challenged, which in this case is the 85 put, if the market moves from 100 to 86 and coming into 85, now I'm potentially going to be in a negative position at expiry. Now I look to roll. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking my position and I'm rolling it out to a longer date. I may even adjust the strike to 84 or 83, wherever I can get it. But what I'm doing now is I'm increasing my credit and giving myself more time for the stock to recover, move back up. As soon as it starts moving back up, that theta starts coming back into my account and I continue, and then I can collect the profit and take it off. Sometimes it's wise to look at not trying to collect all of the profit. Example, I sell that 85 put. I collect, let's say I collect $1 on that 85 put. And that, so that means I got $100 I can make in profit. If the market moves up a little bit and 50 cents of that dollar goes away, that means I've made a $50 profit if I close now. Anything I hold after that, I actually have equal amount of risk as I do profit. I have $50 profit and a $50 risk because I can give back all the profit. So a lot of times it's not a bad idea to say once I've collected 50% or better of my profit, potential profit, close the trade. I don't necessarily do that, but it's not necessarily a bad thing to do. What I do is I go back to my chart and I say, what's my potential to give back that $50 I collected versus what's the chart doing, saying that I've got a very good chance of collecting the remaining 50, or I got an actual signal going to turn against me. I've got something that says this has reached the extent of it's going to move. Why don't I take my 50, why do I risk $50 to make $50? I may as well take it off the table and reset my trade. The same idea when we look at spreads. We look at short spreads. There's no real difference in a short put to a short spread. The only thing a short spread is doing is buying a further. If I sell the 85, I might buy the 80. That's giving me a 5 wide spread. But the reason I do that is let's say that I'm selling, you go into Netflix and it's a $1,500 stock. I think that's what it is. Doesn't matter. A $1,500 stock. These options are going to be very expensive. So your amount of buying power you're tying up is a lot of money. By buying that spread, that 5 or 10 wide spread, if you look at your buying power reduction, the amount that your brokerage account is using to carry this trade, you'll see that it gives back almost 99% of the cash you'd had to put aside to short or to buy Netflix. So now you're adjusting a stock like Netflix down to only maybe needing a few $100s to put a trade on it and collect some premium out of it. So that's really the advantage of is a spread is just changing the risk profile. You can still treat it the same way. You can still roll it. You can still, the same parameters I just talked about on the short put. The spread concept is just to change the risk profile and change the amount of money that you're using in your account to put on that trade in big ticket items. There, that's sort of the spiel I wanted to cover today.
Yeah, so that all makes sense. I think spread also kind of helps you negate the IV crash to some amount, to some extent. Is that not right? Because IVs subtract between short and
Yeah,
long leg.
all your deltas, all your if you short up an option and then you do a spread by longing a different strike, the two del all the Greek math against each other. So yes, if you've got a 20 delta on the one side and you buy 10 delta, now you've only got 10 short deltas. Kind of the theta goes the other way too. If you're collecting $2 a day in theta and then you buy $1 a day in theta, now you're only collecting $1 a day in theta. All of the Greeks offset. You combine the two values, one being negative, one being positive, and you're getting an adjusted value in the middle. But predominantly, the delta is the one that you're going to see the biggest effect in. Well, delta and theta.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean
my
it's.
Mhm.
Go ahead. You go ahead. Question.
No,
Sorry.
like, finish your thought.
I don't know what I was going to say.
Well, the reason I wanted to chat was I picked up this one sentence you recently made. You're switching into an earnings mode because like we have earnings coming up. I generally don't like playing earnings because they're not predictable. But last time you kind of shared a little bit about how you use calendars to play earnings. Other ways, like other like strategies you use
Absolutely.
for
Okay.
yeah.
There's anytime when you're selling premium, the higher the IV is, the better you are for selling premium because
Mhm.
you now have not only theta, but let's say you pick the highest point in IV time frame. Generally speaking, you would think that the only thing that can happen is IV can decrease. So you can speed up the time the you can speed up your profit taking because theta's you're losing the theta, and IV is now shrinking, which now decreases the value of the option faster, so you profit faster. Earnings season, you see a drastic increase in the IV of the option just following the earnings announcement. The closest option to the earnings announcement will have the highest IV in the whole chain. So the idea of playing earnings is to utilize that high IV that's going to fall right out of the option as soon as the earnings report comes out. So it doesn't matter if the stock goes up or down, all that implied volatility of the unknown of what's going to happen at earnings disappears. It just goes back to normal. So let's say you
Mhm.
have a 50% increase in IV on that one strike. As soon as the report comes out, that 50% increase of IV goes away. We call it like the IV crush. That alone can do two things. One, it can create the instant profit, like a huge amount of profit can come in when you're short the premium. But also is what catches some people that are long premium because they're saying, hey, I played earnings. I bought the option. It went my way by $10, but I didn't make any money. Well,
Mhm.
because 50% of the IV value just flushed right out of the option. So anytime you're selling premium, all that strike following the earnings report can be a decent way to trade. So short strangles, short put, short calls, iron condors, calendar spreads, butterflies, anything that's going to take advantage from a drastic drop in IV are okay earnings plays. All
But
of that
if you,
list of
Mhm.
things has potential problems, and that is that you underestimate the move. The move
Mhm.
exceeds your strike, and now and because remember, to catch the options expiry that is closest to the earnings cycle might be 2 days away. Example, this Friday's expiries for all of the banks, meaning if I trade a bank today, earnings cycle tonight, I have Thursday and Friday now to make my roll. So if it really moves past my strike, I may have put myself in jeopardy. I may not be able to get out. So it can be very uncomfortable. It can be the same thing you say, the unpredictability. So I am pretty selective on what I'm willing to do for earnings. And that's where the calendar comes in because I only have one leg I have to roll. I get the IV crush and I have limited risk because really the calendar, all it is creating a vertical spread or I don't know what term to use. I don't know what terms you guys understand. When I say vertical, I mean just sell or buy a call and sell and buy another call of a different strike. To me, they vertical spread, bull call
Yeah.
spread, air put spread. All those names are just exactly the same structure.
Vertical is fine.
Um, okay, so a calendar is just a vertical with different expiry dates.
Hmm.
But what's interesting is they don't even have to be different strikes. They can be the same
Hmm.
strike. Um, so what's happening is I'm shorting the high IV, buying the low IV, which is further out, and now I only have one option I have to roll if it gets challenged. And I can roll it towards the one I'm long, and I can even adjust it above or below the one I'm long. So even if the same strike, I can make them a vertical by the time they hit the same option expiry. And if I put enough time in there, I can roll that 2 or 3 times even, or just once, right out to the same date. I don't know if any of that really made sense, but the risk factor is that vertical. So I can short, for example, if I short, we can pick a stock, but if I short, let's see what I've got on here. What one do I got on? USB, Bank USB. I
Hmm.
have a short 46 put and a long 45 put. Now, I didn't make those the same strike. I got a little aggressive on that one, but I could have made them both 46s or both 45s. Tonight, I
Hmm.
think, is its earnings. So tomorrow, I will be looking towards adjusting that. It can go into profit because my IV on my front end, the one that's 2 days expiry, can go away, which moves that into profit. So I may be able to close that thing tomorrow for a profit. I may be in a position where I want to roll the 46 or the 2 day expiry out in time, which gives me more credit. My cost on that is 27 cents.
Hmm.
So I only have to collect another 27 cents in premium in the next 28 days to pay for the entire spread. That makes sense?
Oh, so if you roll, say USB does well and goes up tomorrow, if, for example, you can still roll for the same strike and get those 27 cents back, then you can potentially even close the entire thing and you'll end up making money, right? Because because you covered your cost of the full spread with the roll.
But
And then when
remember,
you closed everything,
I've got a
you'll get credit.
Correct. Because to start with, I got 27 cents in there. So let's say this thing goes to 50 cents value tomorrow. It's almost what, an 80% return on the amount of money I got tied up. My risk is capital required for that trade is $100. I got $100 required for the trade. That's all my brokerage account is asking for to do that trade. So I can trade earnings. I can take advantage of that rapid, and that's a single position, one contract. So I can take advantage of the rapid IV decline. I do not have to be correct. I could have it go against me. I could have it go with me. All I'm really going to do is if I get the rapid decline of the short side and a less rapid decline of the long side, I create a
Mhm.
decent return on investment, and I've got $100 at risk. To me, that's the lowest exposure in risk I can do for an earnings play. And that's why I look, I mean, I've done about 10 banks this week already. Um, Now I did a different play on Netflix, and I can go over that too. Maybe we'll wait and
Mhm.
see how it works when they actually announce, and if it wins, we can go over. If it doesn't, I'll be quiet about it.
And I'm so curious to see what's the other way. So I understand the idea of the
Well,
calendar.
the calendar to me is the lowest risk, the lowest stress, the easiest to roll, the easiest to adjust. It doesn't only have to be played at earnings; it can be played at any time. Earnings just really plays to it quite nicely.
Mhm.
Um, so it's just a really low cost way to get involved in earnings and potentially make some very good money. And worst case, usually you make a little, like a good percentage based on the risk you got exposed.
But if you get very deep in the money, then rolling, in my experience, has been you basically almost cannot roll for credit, or you get credit for like 1 cent. So you may
Right,
not be
but
able to. Mm.
you have to roll it. You either got to close it or roll it into a same expiry vertical, because that's the only way you control your risk profile. So even if you end up rolling it for 2 cents or 3 cents or 4 cents in credit, it's not
Mhm.
costing you anything to get your risk in management, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah, my point is, in this case, you'd still end up basically losing money because eventually you will have to roll. Well, you'll have to close the whole thing. You will get a
why
little
do
bit
I
of
have to
credit
close
for
it?
that.
Why do I
Hmm?
have to close it?
Oh,
Why do I have to
because
close it?
after a few rolls, you won't be able to roll the short leg anymore, right? It will be
I can roll
past
it
the
down.
expiration.
I can roll it down.
If you're deep in the money, not for credit.
Sure, I make it worse. I roll it
So,
worse.
roll, yeah, but then you're then it
Did I
opens you up
change my
for,
risk? But did I
yeah,
change my risk? No, I didn't.
it do, it does, because now you're open to a spread, right? The difference in strikes. You were at the same strike
No, no,
before,
no,
and
I'm
now
rolling both. I'm rolling both.
you're rolling both. Do you do it for credit though?
Once it's a vertical, I roll it both.
But
Once I've
I
got them on
see,
the same expiry, I can roll it into a
so
worse position. If I
I
kept the
see.
same width between the two strikes, it's just the credit I'm picking up, and I'm just delaying the inevitable. But if I can delay it long enough, kicking the can down the road, eventually, if the market turns and goes the other way, I take my profit back off the table.
But no, I'm still confused.
So the
So
point that I'm forced to take my loss, I don't necessarily agree with. There is times that it makes sense to just take it. Granted, sometimes you just say, forget it. I'm just going to take the hit. It was $100 hit or a $200 hit. I'll just take it minus the credit that you collected.
right.
But but I can always again, look at my chart and say what's practical, what makes sense. Can I, if I adjust it, you know, I adjusted a strike down, can I pick up 10 or 20 extra cents? Can I do it again, pick up 10 or 20 extra cents? So it looks crazy because I'm rolling it into a worse position or putting it further
Yeah,
in the money.
exactly.
But by not changing the width, I haven't changed the risk.
The, let me see. Let me see if I understand. So you start with the say same strike, right? Same strike calendar. Then you roll your short leg to the same expiration as the long and down on
Right. Right.
um
I have to adjust it
in
either down or up, right?
yeah. So
My
then you
choice.
end up
I'm gonna one of them
mhm.
may be a debit, the other side's for sure a credit.
And then you start rolling that as a spread after you
Then I
have them at the
roll it
same
as a
expiration.
spread. Yes,
Hmm.
yes, yeah. Or before I mean, you could roll your long side further out before you get it to be a vertical to give yourself again more time to roll the short side. And I look for
But
stocks that have weeklies, so I've got more
mhm.
options to roll my option, as opposed
Yeah,
to like 60 days, 60 days. I want to have at least I want to have more expiry
right, right.
cycles in there to roll to. So if
Yep.
I can roll it, if I'm going to okay, 27 cents, I've got four, 3 or 4 cycles before 30 days. If I can roll it 10 cents a couple times, now I got a $7 exposure on that trade, right?
Hmm.
So there, it's to me, um, from an earnings point of view, I've done a lot of the trades. I would highly encourage people to avoid earnings cycle trading on options. It's really can be nasty, but it also can be a heck of a lot of fun once you sort of figure it out and are comfortable with what risk exposure there is. And to me, the calendar has been the best performer for that. Now, the other one I will do is butterflies. Now, an iron condor is fine. To me, I don't know. I find an iron condor to me just the amount of money I'm going to make for the potential risk just doesn't. I don't care for it. And what I mean by that is,
Really?
I might get a low risk iron condor. I've got a very small premium, and I'm still exposing myself to the risk of a very big move. Whatever my spread is minus my premium is what my risk is. Often the risk is 3 or 4 times greater than the potential profit. And I just have had too many stocks move that amount of movement that now puts me in that negative position on earnings.
Wait,
Um,
but compared to just a spread, Iron Condor is oh, you're comparing to calendar. Sorry, never mind. I was thinking of comparing to the just the spread because Iron Condor is better because you can only get in the money on one side of the Iron Condor. So one hop is definitely going to die,
Correct. Well, you got double premium, but
but you get premium from
you,
both. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, premiums from both sides. But in order to make it risk free, you're going quite a ways out, or you're going fairly wide on the strikes. And to me,
Yeah.
I just don't see it as a good return on my investment. It may be for some. To me personally,
Yeah.
it's not a comfort. I don't really care for it. I don't. I would just as soon do a strangle than I would an iron condor.
Strangle is basically naked, right? You're shooting naked.
Yeah, naked on both sides. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
And the
short a
reason
naked
being is
naked short
I
call.
can roll that a lot easier. I can roll that for good credit. Every roll is going to pick me up, another $100, another $100, another hundred
Yep.
dollars. As you've experienced with the spreads, you're going to pick up 10 cents or 2 cents or 3 cents. Whereas
Right,
with
right,
the
right.
nakeds, I can be aggressive with my roll. I can even roll inverted, meaning I can roll right past the other side of the string.
Okay.
I feel that I can manage that better than the Iron Condor. The Iron Condor is a good, it's a good experience. It's a good beginner trade. It's probably one of my least favorite trades there is. And yet it's
So,
not really any different than a vertical. And that's, I guess, the same reason why I like the calendar is I'm rolling a single leg until I become vertical. And on
mhm.
my way there, I can make a decision on what I want to do with this thing. And when
Yeah.
I'm using the same expiry, I mean, the same strike, I haven't got something that's 5 or 10 strikes wide, which is giving me, 500 or $1,000 risk on the spread. I've really got a pretty narrow risk pattern. Um, so I got lots of time to think about how I want to take this loss if I'm going to have one. Or can I just wiggle this around and make my loss so small that it's insignificant when I take it? Or
Mhm.
verticals. So I'd be more likely to do a calendar vertical before I'll do a vertical, just simply
Mhm,
because
mhm.
of single option rolls,
Yeah. What did
outside
you?
of earnings.
Yeah. What other ways do you actually like? So I understand you don't like iron corners, but what other,
Okay.
besides the verticals, what else do you
Butterflies.
like to?
Butterflies.
Butterflies.
And the reason a butterfly is I'm got all the advantages, theta decay, all that stuff, but I got a debit. I know what I know what it costs me. So here's the example of today's Netflix trade. A 1310, 1325, 1340 butterfly cost me 90 cents. It's got a $1,300 profit window. And I did the 2 days. It was just after earnings. Um, what else can I say about it? Oh, and the location is you can locate it two different ways. One is look at your magnitudes and position the middle where you think magnitude's going to be, which would be a strat method of doing it. I like to look at my option chain and price out the at the money straddle.
Mm-hmm.
Price the at the money straddle is what the option chain is pricing in as the expected move.
Mm-hmm.
So I take that expected move and add it to the current price or subtract it, depending if I'm bullish or bearish. And I position my middle, my short strike, which is in the middle of the butterfly. So the 1325 is what's short, is right around the expected move based on pricing the 2 day expiry option chain. So I hope that I get a decent move. We're trading 1260 approximately right now. My bottom strike is 1310, so I need a $50+ move up in Netflix to drive this thing into a decent profitable position.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Probably will never hold this right through to exceed that $1,300, even if I'm hovering around 1325 after the earnings announcement. I'm going to see that IV bleed out tomorrow morning. I think it's tonight the reports. Maybe tomorrow night. Um, when that bleeds out, I may see 400 to 500 profit on that trade. If any of those types of numbers happen, I'll probably close that trade. Again, there
So
I've
you
got
short.
80, that $90 risk. I can get 3x, 4x on that thing. That to me
Mm-hmm.
is a smoking good trade.
You short the middle and you long the sides, right?
Right. Short two in the middle,
Yeah.
long one on each side.
Uh-huh. I see. So you want the price to basically stay within the.
I want it over 1310 and under 1340.
Hmm. But I guess, but if you are wrong in the direction, then no amount of IV crash is going to help you, right? You you're probably going to lose your
Um,
premiums.
well, I might get out for less than $90, right? Like I might get out for $40. I might be able to
Hmm.
close it for 20 or 30 or something. So I can take my $90 risk and maybe it's $50 loss. I'm taking a $50 gamble to make to make a 3 to 1 on my ultimate risk, but not necessarily the loss I take. So the amount of buying power my account takes, I'm looking for about a 3 to 1. I mean, I don't have to be that. I mean, if I can double my money, I'll take it. So it really depends on how it trades after the earnings report. Um, I mean, it's a kind of high risk. I mean, I got an inside day, probably an inside week. Yeah, inside week, inside month. Maybe not a wise trade.
I see. Yeah, I was wondering,
Us being all insides, that might be what it needs to explode, right?
does it make sense to do butterfly with the early money short strike and the expected move on both long and on both long sides, I guess. Yeah, higher and lower. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, ask it again. I missed part of that.
I'm thinking if you do butterfly where you short the strike that is at the money before earnings, obviously, right? And then you put your long legs are going to be at the expected move above and below. Does that make more sense? Or is it going to be too wide of
Okay.
a.
What's gonna let's just take a look at it. Let's just actually price it out. So we'll go to the 2-day DTE, we'll add a call butterfly, and we'll leave it at the money and we'll widen it out the expected move. Let's just make sure expected move is so it's an $80, $81, say $82 expected move. And we widen out to what do we got? That'd be 1340. So yeah, see, when I put it on, I probably should have waited till the end of the day because I'm inside expected move now because I did it. Expected move is expanded.
Well, because AV keeps climbing up to
Yes,
the
exactly,
date of earnings.
exactly.
So you're doing Netflix, right? That's what you're saying.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna switch this to puts because it's going through my strikes that I've got. Um, it works the same, so it's not a problem. I'm just gonna switch it to puts because it grabbed the one the actual trades I'm on and adjusted. Let's go to 1340 and say that's expected move. Uh, yeah, there we go. One more, more. They equal 60. That's 100. And that's 80. Okay, the puts. There's something wrong on the put side. I gotta pull that in. 60, 1260. So that would be 1180. 1180. There. Okay. Okay. And I wanted to just get the exact numbers. So now here's the difference. That is a 50% possibility of having that trade win. 58% possibility that it's going to collect 50%. You've got a $6,000 potential gain. So you've got a 57% chance of making $3,000. And you now have a max loss of 2 grand. So you're going to spend $2,100 for that butterfly. So there's the difference. I'm taking a gamble on which side my expected move is going to be, placing my trade at the expected move, having an $80 cost. By doing it your way, is you've increased the potential of profit, like the probability of profit, but you're paying for it up front. So in the long run, it may be way more profitable because you're hitting it way more often. But you are tying up $2,000 on this trade
Yeah, I
versus
just tried
tying up
it.
$90 on this trade.
Yeah, I just tried it. It looks like it's like a huge amount of money. If the if the IV crashes on these, I guess IV crash is not going to be that big of a problem because you have balanced number of short and long legs.
Correct. Yeah, it doesn't get
Hmm.
worse than what you pay. So now there is another, if you may be better to do one of the long legs at the money on both the calls on the put. Basically, you can look at a $90 trade on both sides, or a $100 or a $200 trade on both sides. So now you're $400 engaged. You can be long and short as long as it doesn't go past your expected move. As soon as you move the short strike off of at the money, the price of the butterfly drastically drops.
Hmm.
That makes sense?
Yeah, but I'm looking at it like, how does this work? Like my max profit on a butterfly is the delta in strikes, right?
No, it's the, the width of the
Yeah.
spread, width of the spreads minus the cost.
Right. So, and here's what I just did was, well, I didn't order it. I just priced it, right? So I did the butterfly. I did it on the call side, but it doesn't matter. And like the price of the
Yeah, yeah,
whole thing is $2,400, kind of similar to what the push spread is. But then the difference in strikes is 80. Oh, that's right, 88,000. Okay, the potential profit is $8,000. Never mind. For some reason I thought it was $800. So I was like,
yeah,
yeah,
no, 8,000. Yeah.
yeah, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, so you pay 2,400 to potentially get up to 8,000 or
And
lose
let
it
me
all. Yeah.
that or lose it all. Now, if I go back to what I did, I'll just rebuild it. I'll just go back to the column, put it on, and then just move it down to the strikes. And I just want to look at what the what they show as the stuff. Look at what they're showing as the potential, the percentage of potential profit. Not that it matters, because it's okay. So I've got a 9% chance of profiting the entire $1,400. But I've got a 99% chance of collecting 50% of it. Is what the Black-Scholes
Hmm.
model in options are showing based
Mm.
on the expected move. Now, that's really completely inaccurate because I got a 50-50
Mm.
shot. I got the direction right.
Yeah,
Right. So I think I got to cut these numbers in half because of
that's
my
right.
direction to start with.
Or
So, yeah,
get the other side.
yeah, or get the other side. Exactly. Yeah, I didn't. I don't know what I was seeing. What did I see in the market that I liked? about
So,
why I
so
felt long.
let me ask you this. Uh, on this type of on a butterfly, like let's say, so you got the position and the earnings didn't go the way you wanted. Do you try to repair anything, or you just like you take a loss and move on?
So probably get. Uh, I do both. I
Uh,
don't mean both every time. I mean I can
yeah,
do either. There's many times I'll just say, forget it. I'm just going to take it. A lot of times I will peel out. The only time is it's if it goes against me, then I really have no potential in it. It's just it's pretty much dead. If
yeah.
it goes my way but goes too far, then I have a call spread or a put spread that's full profit. And then I have a short one that's at full loss. What I'll do is I'll close the one that's full profit and roll the short one out, and now I just have a vertical that I rolled out in time,
Uh,
hoping that the market now reverses back and gives me back the credit side of the spread. So I'll have an in
yeah.
the money credit spread that is at full loss. So now if I can get it rolled out and even pay sometimes a small little debit for it.
Yeah, it sounds
Because
to me like
my potential is so
mhm.
good if the market reverses.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like if you try to roll a vertical like that, that's like nearly impossible. You almost have no expiration left. You're deep in the money on both sides. So it's like rolling for credit. I don't know if that's possible unless you roll.
Well,
I
I
don't
don't have to I don't have to keep the same strikes.
know.
Because my
Well, but
risk
then you'll
isn't
make it
changing
worse,
if I
right?
don't change the spread. Yeah, I can change my strikes to be worse. And it's going to take longer to profit,
Uh, yes.
but what I'm doing is not accepting the loss, right?
Right, right,
It's
right.
sort of
No, I
like bag
understand.
holding.
Yeah, yeah, you.
I'm holding the bag forever, but I'm not changing how much I'm risking. It's not like riding $100 stock to zero.
Hmm.
I'm already at
Yeah.
zero.
Yep,
I
yep.
may as well
Yeah, I
hold
see.
on to the stock that's at zero, hoping that it comes.
Yep, makes perfect sense.
So yeah, it's kind of accepting that it can't get worse. So why not buy yourself more time to see if it'll get better? Whereas the difference of buying a stock and then violating your stop loss and still holding it and
Hmm.
using hopium. Well, the thing
Yeah,
is, it
yeah,
just
yeah.
keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, but earnings are tough. Earnings is I would recommend that when we're talking to first time premium sellers is really avoid earnings because it's going to that you got to learn how to roll and roll comfortably
Hmm.
before you're in the heat of the battle of the earnings cycle because that is when the stress is going to hit. So if you're really learning how to do it and now you've got the added stress of 2 days to get it rolled deep in the money,
Hmm.
the negative looks horrendous. You're really making this much harder than it needs to be. So become really comfortable with all your rolling and all your trades and your different structures and your different and what's happened with spreads. Even take some and roll them in, like some of the rolls we talked about. And then you're ready to go to the earnings side. And you got to look at earnings as kind of like the rule of large numbers. I'm going to win some, I'm going to lose some. As long as my profits exceed my losses, I can play this game. I can take 10 earnings and I can have five winners and four losers and, two break evens kind of thing. Um, and in the end, you've made enough money to pay for the cycle. So it sort of becomes, I don't know, the game, the earnings cycle game. is maybe a way to put it. It's kind of trading for the sake of trading.
Mhm. Yeah, no, we don't do that.
Like you price out a strangle that doesn't hit your strike, and that IV crushes out of there, and you pick up 90% of the value of a strangle in, by 9:45 in the morning. That's fun.
I'm gonna need to go back
Like
and
right now,
rewatch
what?
this again. I just need to get my head around the
Mhm.
vocabulary and the terminology, right? Like, I think once I understand, because I've been looking at some of these resources about, vertical and calendar spreads, and all of these kind of
Yeah.
cheat sheets that I've seen, they don't even have those
Yeah,
words on it. And so I think one of the things, this goes maybe back to the beginning of our conversation of why some people have a hard time with these advanced option strategies. I mean, oh, there's calendar spreads there. It's really, there's a lot of
yeah,
vocabulary to get your head wrapped around,
Yep.
and then from the vocabulary you have to understand how the vocabulary builds the tools, and then the tools build the strategy, and then, so there's certainly
right.
a learning curve here.
Yep.
Oh, 100%. And that's why I wanted to start today with the thing my spiel at the beginning was just some real basic simplicities to get started. And as you're looking at things, when I'm saying vertical, look at the words bull call spread, bear call spread, bull put spread, bear put spread. Those are verticals. If I would assume they're using those names, because those go back from the 1990s. If they're
So
not using
Yeah.
them and not using vertical, I don't know what terminology they're using, but I'll guarantee you it's in your information somewhere. They are describing a vertical spread. They're just using a different set of names to talk about it.
yeah, and if I don't find a good cheat sheet that has all of this in there, and what I'm looking to do is also find something that has, references to theta and to IV, and to all the other, all the rest of the Greeks. I know IV is not one of the Greeks, but to the other Greeks, like just to put together a proper resource document that's useful, that people can say, okay,
Right.
I'm lost here, and AlleyTrader's out, having a rum and a cigar, and I can't find them. So now what do I do, right?
In
No, that's
Mississippi,
good. And
they have it all.
that,
Right. Yeah.
Uh, what is very helpful to get a hang of all these roles and stuff is to just do it on the paper trading account. Uh, but keep in mind
yeah,
that paper trading always has amazing feels, and you feel like you're a god until
Yeah.
you try it for real and you realize you get fucked.
And
we
Ali
were
Ali
we were
said exactly the same thing at the beginning. He's like, yeah, paper trading might help you know what buttons to push, but in terms of
Yes, exactly.
actual data prices and what the fills look like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's deceptive.
yeah,
it's exactly that.
yeah, very. And way more in options than anything else because of that very low volume, because they'll just match you. In options, as you notice, if you're using limit orders on your options, how they'll just sit. I mean, you can even be right at the mid price and they'll sit and sit and sit. You move it 1 cent and they fill because they got to match orders. There's got to be somebody on the other side of it. Whereas in trading the S&P 500s, the SPY, you hit buy and it doesn't matter if you're close. It's going to move enough up and down that it's going to fill you in a second. So there's times I can sit on orders all day without them filling, and I can be 1 penny off because there's just nobody on the other side of the transaction. So that's why in your simulated account, they'll just fill the thing
Yeah.
for you. But in reality, it's never filling.
Yeah.
I'll tell you even more interesting anecdote. I've had rolls sometimes that wouldn't execute for like several hours, and then what I would do is
Oh,
I'd go back, cancel roll, and resend it again. It would fill
mhm.
immediately.
Yep, yep, yep. And sometimes you'll see wig wide spreads. Put in a fake order. Get them to narrow that spread up to reality because they'll do that. They'll
Yeah,
adjust it right past your
yeah,
price. And then
yeah,
you adjust your price and they'll adjust it right past your price. And
yeah,
eventually you get the real bid ask spread that somebody's willing to offer. Because you
yeah.
look at it and go, oh my God, it's 10 wide. By the time you get
I've
filled, it's 20 cents.
I've done that too. When I needed to roll multiple contracts, I would
Mhm.
send one with a very high credit, and I would send the other one with what I actually think I'd be able to get, and that would be much better to increase my chances of filling the reasonably priced one.
Right. Yeah, you sort of like make your own spread, or you force them
Exactly.
to act because they're just ignoring that stock is what they're doing. There's nobody playing that stock. They're ignoring it. But when you get to the certain price point, they have to pay attention because they're
Yeah.
paid. They're market makers on it. So you're actually making them pay attention and narrow the spread so you can get a transaction done. But that's again look for volume, look for the high volume stocks, make sure you're not trading, 10 open interest, make sure you've got, a bunch of open interest, decent volume, and you won't have those problems. But if you're picking off some of these ones that we trade in the room, like these more memeish current high flyers, some of the option chains to do spreads, they're terrible. You'd never get them rolled. Whereas something like Netflix or Tesla or them, where they got lots of volume, you got a better chance.
Yep.
But now you're getting into 5 and 10 wide strikes, so
I had a
not one wide
question.
strike.
I have a question about covered calls. So if you do sell covered calls, and I did try selling one on Nvidia, and it kind of shot up, but I'm not in the money, and I have time. So when is a good time to look into rolling? Before you get into the money, or how much time you should let it pass? Uh,
Okay, how much time did you put in your original contract?
a month out. So I sold it
A month
for
out, okay.
August 15th.
And the decision you have to make is if I do let them take my stock, am I happy with the position? Because assuming you're in profit if they take your NVIDIA away, right?
Yes, quite a bit. So that is not a
Yeah,
concern, but
okay.
at the same time, I don't
Yeah, but
want
you
to
don't
lose.
necessarily want to.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would seriously look to be rolling. Well, one, if you're not being challenged, if you're not in the money, then just relax. If
Okay.
you are darn sure you're going in the money, or you are in the money, then get it rolled before 15 days are left. Like in that time frame, 15, 10, 15 to 10 days, under 10 days. Now, like NVIDIA, there's going to be lots of volume and there's going to be lots of options. You can probably roll it down to the last minute. So I think it just as a general practice is what I'm talking about. A stock like NVIDIA, and I haven't looked at the option chain. Let me do that to make sure I'm not giving you bad information. But I would bet that if it's got great volume, about a month out. So you are on August 15th expiry.
Yes.
So yeah, you have 29,000, 30,000, 4,000, 20,000 open interest, and your volume is, yeah, again, 10,000 on just about every strike. What strike you on?
I sold it for 175.
175? Yeah, so you got 15,000 daily volume, 43,000 open interest. That thing probably would roll right to the last minute of the last day of expiry if you're not in the money. The reason you want to roll early on in the money is now they can assign it at any time. Somebody could say, "Hey, I want that," and they're going to try to take your stock from you. So the more in the
Just
money you go, the better chance they're going to you're actually going to get an exercise.
Does NVIDIA pay dividend?
Not much, barely, negligible.
That's also a risk. So if it gets close to being in the money, you can get assigned even out of the money. Happened to me before.
They can
For
assign out.
dividend, yeah, for
Um,
dividend paying
But they
stocks.
don't. I don't think they
Usually all
pay
these short puts have dividend risk. Now, let's think about that.
Nvidia
So they're
set up
going
the
to play
dividend.
for the dividend, which would drop the price. How big is their dividend?
I mean, they barely play dividend. Like if you look at their last one was like
1 cent.
last
Yeah,
1 cent.
1 cent dividend is highly unlikely
Okay.
anybody's going to assign for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So highly unlikely that. Yeah, fighters like SPY is one it'll assign off often. Generally speaking, short puts is the only one that's going to have assignment risk.
So the reason I'm doing this is
Um,
like I'm a long-term holder of Nvidia in my IRA account, right?
yeah,
And I
yeah.
decided like,
Well,
they're sitting there doing nothing. So why not try to sell a covered call on and see if I can make
yeah.
some
What'd you
profit.
collect?
I
What did
collected
you collect?
$3.20,
Okay.
and they're up to like
So you
520.
break even. So your break even would be $178.
Yep.
So that's what you'd be collecting. So if they take away your stock at 175, you actually made 178 because you're adding in the premium you made.
Yep.
But you're at 170. You got a $5 cushion. Um, the daily showed a little softening today. I would not worry about that thing at all. You've got 15 days, or as long as if it stays below 175, you don't even have to think about it for 15 days. But because of the volume in there, you could roll that thing right down to probably, 355 on the fiery day and still get it probably rolled fine just because of the high volume.
Got it.
And but bear in mind, if you've got, let's say you've collected $3 on your premium, and if you go out to, let's say we go out to 65 days because you want to hold the stock, you want lots of time. If you rolled to the 175 out 66 days, you now pick up $10. That's a $7 extra you've just picked up. Now your actual break even's 185, and you gave yourself 35 extra days. Or you could go to the 180 and pick up 8, which is giving you $5 extra of premium, and you've raised your call-away price $5. So there's no reason. I mean, don't take what I'm saying to be exactly what you have to do. You can roll right now if it's putting more credit in your pocket and give yourself the cushion.
Yeah.
Take your
Uh,
175, roll out to 65 days, go to the 180, go to the 185, pick up $6 extra of credit. Oh no, you're paying 5. So you're paying for 5. You're losing on your first one. You're paying 5, rolling for 10. As long as you do it for a credit and roll up, you've gained on the position. If you fear this thing's going to keep moving up, if you think it's not going to, if it's done moving up, then you can play it however you want. But if you think it's going to keep going, nothing's stopping it from rolling it right now.
yeah, I mean, Nvidia is
If you
bullish to
gain,
sell, right? Like Nvidia is bullish overall.
it was bullish till today. I mean, it could be a failed 2 down on today, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's not going to go outside today. You've got a 2 down, failed in. I mean, it's back inside, other than the wick. So you got a little summary up there. I know, not a strat term. Um, So, tomorrow, if it goes back up to new high, you could say, hey, I'm uncomfortable. I can pick up more premium. I can buy this back at $5. I can sell at 180 for $6. I can pick up an extra dollar premium, and I just gave myself $5 extra of cushion between now. So now you get call away at 180. That's, $10 above today. And if it challenges you again and you can roll out to 185 and go out to 120, because you're long-term hold, remember. So there's nothing wrong. I mean,
Yeah,
protect yourself. Keep your stock if you want it. And just keep adding premium up. Eventually this thing goes back, retraces to 160, you collect all that premium, close the trade, start over again.
great. Thank you. Feel a lot more comforted. Yeah, I would really like
Yeah,
it because
don't let them decide what you're gonna do. You decide what you're gonna do. That makes sense what I mean by that statement?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, as long
So
as you're doing it for credit, there's no hassle. Like, don't worry about it. Time's irrelevant because you plan on holding it for a long time anyway.
yeah,
Um, the day
Yeah,
you
the
want to get
problem.
rid of it, go ahead.
I was gonna say the problem with that is if it goes very deep in the money. I have some stocks like that. They're like I'm like I don't know 50% in the money or something like this. I still keep crawling. It's not looking very good. Like right now, my cost is pretty much pinned at the strike.
On a covered call,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have a
So all you've done
I,
is you've capped your gains, right?
exactly.
Yeah, that's the
So
disappointing thing is you've put your covered call on and the stock doesn't want to ever reverse. Um,
yeah,
all you're doing is keep buying time, hoping it finally will reverse on you, and you don't capitalize on all those gains. Totally agree. You're creating your own dividend stream, but you're preventing yourself from making capital gains because you've capped it with the call. So
yep,
it's a catch-22.
yeah.
But in this case, he's not in the money yet. And I'm
Oh
telling
yeah,
him to
for
keep
him,
ahead of
I
it.
totally wait. Yeah. Well, I'm a DJ.
Yeah,
I never roll until the last day. So, but I don't think that's a smart idea.
well, see, I'm saying if you're uncomfortable, you're feeling stress over your position, you're not happy waiting because you feel like it's creeping up on you, then give yourself more time and take that stress off you. That's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with
Hmm.
you. I would wait personally. If I get challenged, I'll roll it and get a bigger credit. But if I'm feeling stress and it's affecting me to, do my job or, it's I don't want to lose my stock, then do the roll and not feel the stress. That's kind of the information I was giving is you can take action now, pick up more credit, give yourself more room, give yourself more time, but you
I
will get a
suggest
better. Go
and
ahead.
then
I, su-
one
I
thing,
suggest if you're feeling stressed, do something.
uh,
Check the
yeah, I'm not
price
stressed
of
right
that.
now.
Yeah, so
I'm
check
not
the
stressed
price
at
of this.
all.
Frankie, can you
I
come?
mean,
So,
I'm
so,
not that
so
stressed at all.
Okay.
here's something for you to do. A good exercise. Check the price of this contract as it gets closer to expiration. When the price of the stock goes up, you may see interesting thing when sometimes the delta. It's makes you feel much more comfortable. So,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Frankie, ask
And
your
and
question
and
again, but just come closer to the mic.
yeah, sure. So
to that
the other
point,
thing,
as we go ahead. Sorry, I'll let you ask your question. I won't add.
no,
Yeah.
I wasn't really a question, but more of a comment. Is this clear or
Yeah, that's better. Thanks.
yeah,
That's very clear.
okay? So the other thing, at least from stat terms, what I have seen is what I did was at least on Nvidia, when I looked to sell the calls, I tried selling it towards the high of the day when it was close to ADR because what I observed over these days with the NVIDIA is that oftentimes it will touch ADR and then you'll see a certain pullback. So is that like a is that a good strategy to look at when you're trying to even roll over it is to do it when it's at the high of the day because then at that point you'll get the most uh, premium, or do you do it at the open because The IV is higher
No,
during the
no,
time.
you did the right thing. The best option traders are the best chart readers. So if you want to cover call something, do it where you think the market has reached the heights and is about ready to drop. Um, that's what I try to do. I'll buy a stock and for the intention of cover calling it, but I wait for that time on the chart to tell me when I would short it. When I would think about shorting the stock is when I sell my covered call. So you're 100% right when you reach the highs, because the closer you are, the higher you are, the more value that call is going to have. So if it moved up $3 on you during the day, that's $3 against you that you could have sold in your call. So very good thing to do.
So,
Now
thank you.
rolling, not so much, because both are. I mean, it's not going to matter when you roll,
Yeah,
because
because
both are
you're
going to be at
buying.
the high of the day.
Yeah, yeah, got it.
To initiate the
Actually,
position,
I, for short expiration, actually does matter. You want to roll at the lower, like for calls, you want to roll at the lower price, and the reason for that is because for the longer expiration, the if the price of the underlying is lower, then the portion that is contributed by theta by time value is higher, so you get a better credit. You see what I'm saying?
the offsetting
You have
delta is what you're referring to.
no. I'm talking about actually the time value of the option, right? You have some
No, the
intrinsic,
time value is trading the difference in the delta, is what I mean.
right, right, and
Because
like if you
your
have
front end delta is yeah, it's yeah, because it wouldn't really matter the theta itself won't matter where your stock price is, but the stock
Mhm.
price is changing the delta between the two strikes.
Right.
That's what I would mean, or the actual, what is it? It is the gamma. No, that's volatility movement. Rho.
And then I
Row
had
is
one
interest rate.
more. Okay, and one more
Rho
follow-up
is
question.
interest. You're right. Well, what is it? It is
This is
not that
delta
it
versus
matters.
theta.
I'm looking at the secondary Greeks. That's what I'm trying to. So
Uh,
I'm just, Rho, gamma. Those are secondary Greeks that have very little impact.
mhm.
Omega, maybe. Anyway, doesn't matter. Geek talk. Geek talk Greek.
I just one more follow-up question. So if let's say you're not deep in the money, just at the money. So I sold it for 175 for whatever reason. It's just as 175 or 170.5 or something, or 176 for instance. And I've already collected $3 of premium, right? Does it make sense to roll it or just let it get called off because I still would be profit and I can just go on the open market and buy it
You've
at the
collected your $3.
yeah, I've collected
You've
the three.
passed. Oh, do you want the stock?
Yeah, I mean I want the stock.
Close the position.
Just
Close
buy
the
back the
option.
call.
Take your profit.
Okay.
Keep your stock.
So got it.
Yeah, like if you that's the question you always have to ask when you're doing the covered call. Do I want the stock, or am I okay if it goes away? And if you want to keep it and you've sold for $3 and you've collected $2.90 of it, close it.
Got it.
Just
Yeah.
buy back the option for 10 cents, and you've kept the $2.90, and you can now sell a new one. It's the same thing as rolling. I mean, really, all you're doing is buying the one, selling the other. Rolling is just sort of keeping the same money in play, or doing it in one transaction. It's totally up to you, but no, don't. If you want the stock, don't let them take it away from you and keep the profit. Just close the option.
All right. Great. Okay.
All right, guys, so I have to go. Ellie, thanks so much for taking the time. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I got to get
And
going, so
Slanka,
You're
thanks
very
for
welcome.
recording.
no problem. Ali,
Thank
thanks
you.
again
Thank
for your wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Ali.
right. Talk to you guys later.
Welcome.
Cheers.
Okay, you guys.
Ciao.